So are you guys able to follow up into this point? Or are you still a bit behind? You want me to wait a minute for you to catch up? Or shall I just continue? All right, cool. So as I said, I've already loaded in my line types, right? I've already loaded in center and hidden. So now I'll assign these line types to various lines. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select one hidden line, type in properties. Now in my properties, I'm going to change the line type for that line to hidden. It's always a good idea to be able to view the line that you've drawn or the line that you've changed, just to see if you need to increase the scale. Right, so maybe a scale of 1 doesn't work so well, so maybe I'll try a bigger scale. Let's try 10. Yeah, that seems to work a bit better. So I'll go for something a little bit less. I'll go for something like 8. All right, I want to see quite a few hidden lines for each line that I draw, so I'm going to choose a scale of 8. And just bear in mind that when we go into our layout space, we may need to change the scale if it's not visible in the layout space, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So I've changed the line type, I've changed the line type scale, so I'm gonna change my line weight as well. So my line weight for my hidden lines, I'll choose something very light, so 0.05. Okay. So once I'm happy with that, I'm going to go to my properties, match properties, and select all my other hidden lines throughout my drawing. So that line, this line, this line. Do I have any other hidden lines? No, those are my only hidden lines right now. Yeah. So I can exit properties, exit my match tool. Now I'll change the property for this center line that I've drawn. So I will go to properties, change the line type to center. You can see the center line, but maybe I want to increase the scale. So I'll choose something maybe like 5. Yeah, 5 looks good. So I'm going to keep 5 and I'll change my line weight to 0.05. Once I'm happy with that, I'll click close. I don't have any other center lines yet. I mean, this is one center line, so I guess I could match properties to this one. But I haven't drawn my center lines yet for these 2 circles. So now that I've made those changes, I'm going to mirror all of these drawing about this center line. So I'll click on mirror. I'll select all of my lines. All right, so I've selected all the lines on one side of my mirror line. I'll hit enter, and now I will draw the mirror line. So the mirror line is here. Oops. Select all of my lines. Enter. Mirror line. Do I want to erase the source? No. Okay. So the reason why I changed my line types first, obviously, is because I don't want to have to do that twice. I don't want to have to change property types here and then select so many lines to try and change properties. It's just a way to cut down on my modeling time. But you can use any approach that you'd like. If you would rather draw all the lines and then change all the line types one shot, then by all means do that. Right. So I've done that. I can also just use my join tool if I want and select this line and this line. So now that becomes one line. I can select these 2 to join them. All right. If I was doing a 3-dimensional model, then I would have to join all these lines. But because it's only a 2D drawing, I don't have to. So it's optional if you want to join all your lines at this point. What I'm going to do now, though, is draw my center line across here. So I'll go line, draw a line across, make sure to extend it equally on both sides. So I'll extend it by 3. So all my center lines I'll extend by 3 mm. Last week we used 5. This week I'm using 3. It's optional, but you'd have to extend them equally on both sides. So if I extend it to 5 this side, extend 5 the other side. So 3 this side, 3 this side. I'll go to match properties. I'll select one of my center lines as the source. So this one. And the destination will be these two lines. Okay. Now, please note, as I was drawing my drawing, I got rid of all the lines that were sort of overlapping or lying on top of each other. You want to do that so that when you come to change your property types or your line properties, you don't have two lines lying on top of each other. So let's say I had a line here and I changed the line type for this one and it was showing, but you notice it's still sort of like, it's not visible this side. That's because there's two lines lying on top of each other. All right. Now, if I did the overkill command from last week before I changed my line type, then that would have sorted it. But my approach this week was I deleted all of them manually as I was drawing, and then that way I don't have that problem later when I change my line types. So I've done this bit now. Now I'm going to draw my circle at the bottom. So I'll draw a line anywhere random on the center line. I'll measure a distance of 12. And then a distance down any random distance, okay? Now, I can get rid of this 12 mm line. I don't need that. All I'm interested in this is is this line. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this edge and make it touch this point. All right. So now I want to make this line a certain length. If I look back at my drawing, the distance from the bottom line here to the center of this circle would be 65 minus 32. Yes. So the distance from this point, from this baseline to the center of the circle, should be 33. What I'm going to do is I'm going to resize my line. Now, this is also a command that I haven't gone over, but if you Google it, it's very easy to find. What I'll do is I want to make this line shorter. Right now it's 51 and I want to make it 33. So I'll click on the side that I want to shorten. So I'll click on this side and then I'll press tab on my keyboard. Notice now that the 51 is highlighted in blue. That means I can change that value of 51 to any length that I want. So I want to go 33. And that is how you extend and shorten lines. If you select the side that you want to extend, so I'll say this side, I want to extend, I want to make this whole line more than 33. Say I want to make it 40. If I click on this edge and then press tab, I can now specify a distance 40 and it'll extend this side to make it a total length of 40. So that's just something that might be helpful to you when you're doing your drawings. You don't actually have to enter the line length yourself as you're drawing the line. You can actually change the line length later if you want. So now this is the center of my circle. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my circles. So this is a center radius. So circle radius, center radius. So my first radius, I believe, is 16 diameter, so radius 8. And my second circle is radius 16. Right. Now I'll draw a line from this point across 5 mm and then down, extending beyond this arc. So I won't stop on the arc because if I click here, notice this line is now crooked. So what I want to do is I want to draw a line that doesn't snap to the circumference. I'll extend it anywhere in between these two circles. All right, and then I'll just use the trim tool to get rid of the bit that's overlapping. Now I'll mirror this line, this side. Notice I still have this small line here, this 5 mm. What I will do is I'll delete that. Even though this is not a different line type, it's continuous line type, I still don't want to have overlapping lines in my drawing. So wherever you have overlapping lines, try and delete them if you can remember, or use the overkill command. So now I'll mirror this line about this point. So mirror this line about this center line. Erase source, no. So that's one. This center line now can be deleted. I don't need that anymore. Instead, what I'll do is I will draw my center line for my circle. So these two share a common center line. So I don't need to draw 4 center lines. I just draw 2. Extend it by 3 mm both sides. And then I can match properties, center line, and make these the same. Okay, I realize I'm going a bit fast, but don't worry. This is recorded. You'll be able to go over it. Okay, Alamita, it's fine. Okay, so all right, from here, I'm going to draw my tangential line. So I've got one tangential line from this point going to this baseline, and another tangential line from this point down to my circle. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select line. I'm going to turn off my ortho mode because I have a line here that comes at an angle. Ortho mode is used for only vertical or horizontal lines. Best for that. When you're trying to draw lines at angles, it won't be able to do that. So I'm going to turn that off. I'll select my first point here. And at this symbol, this is the tangential symbol. That's where I'll stop my line. Okay, the tangential symbol will only show if I have all of my snaps turned on, especially the tangent. Okay, so another line from this point connecting back to this line. So I will go line from this quadrant, perpendicular. Okay, it would be best to try and draw this line using the ortho mode because again, it's a horizontal, vertical line. So from this point up, nice. So I only have a few more fillets left. Some fillets in between here, fillets between here, and fillets between here, I think. Yes. So all of these are fillet radius of 3. So I'll type in fillet. I'll set my radius to 3. And then select the lines that I want to fillet. Okay, in between fillets, I'm pressing enter so that I can, sorry, not enter, spacebar, so that I can recall my fillet command. So I don't have to go and press fillet again for each time I do it. In case you are wondering how I'm able to fillet quickly. So now I'll fillet these 2 lines. And just draw my line between these 2. Fillet again. Okay, so that is this first half of the shape done. Right, so this is the first view done. Now we just need to draw the side view. First things first, I will establish relationships between certain points. So like my center point here, I'll establish relationships. For this line too, I'll establish a relationship. Like I said, I'll use this drawing to help me draw the next view. So I'll extend my center line somewhere here, any random length. Actually, no, I know that this distance is going to be 50, right? So 50, from that point up, it will be a distance of 16. And then back in line here. Right? I will mirror these 3 lines about this center line. So I extend this by 3 mm either side. And then mirror. 1, 2, and 3. Actually, first I will draw my hidden line. So that has a radius of 8. So from this point up has distance 8, then across. Get rid of my overlapping line. Now I'll mirror this line. So I'll mirror all of these lines. About this line. Oops. Mirror all these lines about this center line. Erase source, no. So that's the bottom bit. What I want to do now is draw a line that is 20 mm long and extend it up a distance until it intersects with this point, right? This base point. Get rid of my overlapping line again. Now this line extends right down to my center line. And this has a distance of 10 mm. So 10 and then up. I just want to check. I want to check if this line is in line with this, the end point of these lines. What I can do is I can go into distance. So utilities, measure and distance. Now, if I select that endpoint and the other point, notice that there is no, oops. Turn off my author mode first. Let's draw that again. From this point to this point. Right, notice that there is no, or there is actually. Let's try it. Sorry, let's try that again. From this point to that point. Now, unfortunately, they don't exactly line up. Okay. I have a slight distance of 0.1358 mm distance between these 2 points. Which that means is this one is a little bit higher than this line here. So I just need to reduce these line lengths by that distance, 0.358. So I'll click on this line, 0.358. Just measure the distance between these two. Okay, what's the distance there? 0.1358. Okay, so this is correct. I need to bring this one down by a distance of 1358. So what I'll do is I'll just decrease this by 0.1358. Does that change the line length? You know what? I'll just delete that line and this line, and I'll draw it again. So from there to that point, 17, extend this one right down to the base. Okay. So now from this edge to this outside edge, sorry, let's share this. So from this edge to this outside edge would be 28, but then there is a slight boss extrusion at this point of 3 mm. So I'm going to minus 3 mm from the 28. So from this point to this point will be 25. So I'll now draw a line from this point in 25. Now this will come up to be in line with this point here. So what I'll do is I'll now extend this line from this point up until in line with this point. So this point here corresponds with this fillet here, right? So this fillet here corresponds with where this 10 radius 10 fillet touches our slot. So what I'm going to do is I am going to first draw a line from this point across, and then a line from this point to touch that line. extend it by 3 mm and then just trim away this stuff. Okay. So from where this fillet touches this point here, down to this point, it should be a distance of 22 plus 10. Sorry, 22. So 10 from this point down to there, and then from there, including this radius, which is 16. So 10 plus 16 will give us 26. So from this point down, a distance of 26, and then back to the vertical line. So now this line here should correspond with this point here. And then I will extend this line a distance of 54. So 54 will be 16 plus 16 plus 22. So 16 plus 16, that's 32, plus 22 will give me 54. So I'll click on this edge, tap the tab button on my keyboard, and change this distance now to 54. So now this point here corresponds with the top of this slot. I'll draw a line across that goes 12 mm and comes down until it intersects somehow with this point here. Then across and down. All right. Now I'll line up my center lines. So this center line lines with that point. This center line lines up here. Extending my center lines 3 mm both sides. Okay. Now the hidden lines that I have here correspond with this 10 diameter hole. So I'll draw a line from here up 5 mm across, delete my overlapping line, and then just mirror this line about this center line. Erase the source, no. Now I'll copy these two lines. So I'll go copy, copy these two lines. My baseline will be this point. Copy them down here. Okay. So instead of having to draw it twice, I just did it for one and then copied it basically. Set. At this point now, I will draw my circle at this side. So I'll draw a line that corresponds with this point. So across, now from here across, my distance will be 65. So this will be where the center of my circle is. So I'll go circle, radius, set that to 10. And the second one's radius will be 16. Delete this line. And now I'll just draw tangential lines from this point to here and from this point to there. Oh, sorry, to here. So line, turning off my ortho mode. From here to there. And here to there. Now I can draw my center lines for this circle. So I'll go line, down, and then across. Extend them 3 mm. Okay, so bear in mind for your projects, if you have center lines, make sure that they always extend beyond the shape. Center lines extend, hidden lines stay within the shape. Okay, I'll change the properties. So I'll go properties, match properties, my source, and then change my center lines for all of my center lines. So these are all center lines too. Right. I'm going to add my fillet. So fillet, I'll set my radius to 6. Okay, so my radius here. I also have other fillets to do. So I'll go again, fillet, radius, set it to 3. So this point and this point, extend this line across. Another fillet between this line and a line that goes here. So what I'll do is I'll draw a small 3 mm line and then use this line and this line to create that fillet. So fillet, this line and this line. Another short line that goes this side, 3 mm. Fillet, this line, this line. All right. What I can do now is I can join all of my hidden lines if I want. So notice that all these lines here will be hidden, but this line here is completely long. So what I could do is I could shorten this line and then come into my line tool and draw another line. So now that it's 2 lines, or I could break this line. So what I'll type is I'll type in break at point. I'll select the line that I want to break and the point where I want to break it. All right, what that does, it breaks this line into 2. Now I'm going to join these lines, all these hidden lines together. So join this line to this line to this line and this line. So that's all now one hidden line. That's another hidden line, and the rest are visible. Okay, we also have 3 mm fillets here. So fillet, extend this line. Again, fillet, 1, 2. I'll change my line types to hidden. So I'll go match properties, select one hidden line this side, and select my hidden lines on this drawing. Okay. All my hidden lines. The last thing to do is to add the hidden line down here and that hidden line. So this hidden line here corresponds with this point, corresponds with where this line is tangential to this circle. So what I'll do is I'll draw a line that goes from this point across. Now I'll draw a line that goes from this point down, and another line from this point down. What I'll do is I will shorten this line. So I'll bring this line in and then extend it by 3 mm. I'll bring this line in and then extend it by 3 mm. I'll trim the center portion. So what I'll do is I'll trim this one out, and now I can add my fillet here. So I will fillet 1, 2, and fillet again 1, 2. Change my line type. So match properties, source, destination. And now I've changed all of my line types. All right, and this is the end of the drawing process. Last thing to do is maybe add some line weight. So to do that, I will go into my Q select tool. So Q select, I want to select all of my outline lines, so my thicker lines. I've already changed the line weights for these hidden and the center lines. So I'll select all of my outline lines. So line type and then the value by layer. Select all my outline lines. And then in properties, I will increase the line weight for the outline to 0.8. All right. And then to make sure that I can view it, I'll make sure that my line type is turned on in my customization tool. So make sure line type is selected and then select line type. Oops. this one and this one aren't hidden. So what I'll do is I'll just select these two. I'll match properties this one to this one and this one. So that's the end of the drawing process. And now we can move into the layout and dimensioning. Shall I discuss the layout and dimensioning, or are you guys okay with doing that on your own? Yes, the settings are pretty much the same as last week. Yeah, all of the basic principles for dimensioning we covered last week. So that includes dimension break, dimension spacing, as well as doing the different dimension tools. So like for this one, we have the aligned dimension style, the linear dimension styles, the radius dimension style. And yes, the dimension styles that we have. So like, sorry, I was just talking about the tools. So we had the aligned dimension tool, linear dimension tool, and radius dimension tool. The styles will be pretty much the same as last week. So we'll have the standard, the style to or copy of standard, and then the diameter style. Can use the same settings as last week. Okay, thank you very much. So I will stop demonstrating at this point.